Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special edition, the Expendable Show. So I've had it with all of the Harrison Butker nonsense. So I'm gonna address that today and give you my rundown of that situation. So what? As everybody knows, because I'm going to adjust my camera quick. That's better. So Harrison Butker gave a commencement speech to Benedictine College, which is a Catholic school, private Catholic college, which 9 times out of 10, that's fantastic. It's great. Let's ride that. So he gave his commencement speech, and it was over. Basically getting back to, the husband has a role, the wife has a role, and he highlighted that a wife would generally be a homemaker. Now, in the speech was fine amongst the Catholics in attendance, and he didn't get booed or heckled or anything. He got a standing ovation. So I don't think there's an issue there amongst the people that were there. Now, so as the day went on today, I was watching X, and so we have the liberal world is trying to draw a comparison to Colin Kaepernick. Okay, that's all they got on this. They want to whine and cry because a guy used his NFL celebrity to bring awareness to his religious beliefs. I was actually kind of surprised that Whoopi Goldberg kind of stuck up for him and said, this is what he believes. Like, we should be fine with that. So that was quite okay. I'm actually watching a video right now of Sean P. Diddy, beating up somebody in a hotel hallway, that guy's got some serious issues. Anyway, Harrison Butker, he gives this speech. It's great. Everybody loves it. The liberals are trying to compare this to Colin Kaepernick. Okay, so there is a slight comparison, but there's also a major contrast. So I'm going to kind of break this down in from a couple different angles. So when you have Colin Kaepernick, who kneels during the national anthem while the national anthem is going on during an NFL football game, what that does is go from what I would call that the old saying of "don't shit where you eat," and I use that a lot on Twitter today when I was describing this to the crybabies. Don't shit where you eat. What does that mean for Colin Kaepernick? Colin Kaepernick in the NFL is not his own entity. Peyton Manning in the NFL is not his own entity. He is an employee, commodity, profit margin facilitator for the NFL. So you have certain things that are okay and not okay in the NFL. Well, Colin Kaepernick kneeled for the national anthem. Nobody seemed to get upset about it at first, but what happened was it pissed off the consumer. So the consumer stopped consuming. So the NFL started watching profit margins change. They started watching their revenues go down. They started watching their viewer time go down. When you're in America and you put somebody who's exerting a non-American, sign of disrespect towards the national anthem, which many, many, many millions of Americans hold dear to their heart. When you disrespect that, you're going to get a reaction. So what's happened is the market corrected the problem. Okay, and that's what happens in this world because the world is ran by corporate America. So for liberal America to always put the blame on conservative America is an absolute disgrace because it's not conservative America that caused Colin Kaepernick to not play in the NFL anymore. It was corporate America. So if you want to go after somebody, you'll go after corporate America. Now it's too late. Colin Kaepernick, he's been out of the game too long, and he's not the same Colin Kaepernick he was the first couple of years when he ended up getting out of, or when they kind of pushed him out of football. I agree. Okay, so let me give my position on Colin Kaepernick. I don't have a problem with him having his own individuality, his own opinion. What I don't agree that he did it during the national anthem. I understand we had some major, things going on in the country at that time, and there was a lot of tension. And he, in my opinion, he is a victim in a sense of the puppet master's game. So they know that there's some weak-minded individuals out there. I don't want to say Colin Kaepernick's a weak-minded individual, but he fell for it, and he went headfirst into it, and it cost him millions of dollars. So Colin Kaepernick, you can blame whomever you want, but bro, it's you. You're the one who caused it. So I liked you as a football player when you came out of Nevada. I thought, man, this guy, he's a gunslinger. He can fling it, and he's an athlete. He's going to make somebody a good football team. And then he came into the NFL with San Francisco, did very well. I believe they went to the playoffs, So, and then the whole national anthem thing happened, and he lost his career over it. Who you can blame, Colin Kaepernick, is the NFL. You can blame them for caving to profit margin loss and blaming you for it. And that's what the consumer wanted a correction. And so Roger Goodell made the correction, and it was you. You were the problem. Same thing with Bud Light and the whole Dylan Mulvaney thing. It wasn't, conservative America did not like the commercials. But what happened was the market corrected the problem. And that's how capitalism works. When you have a product that is no longer favorable to your consumer, the market corrects itself. I do not run a billion-dollar company, but I do run a multi-million-dollar company. So I do have a very strong understanding for what supply and demand is. And when you make mistakes in your field, how that could negatively affect your profit margins. And that's exactly what happened to Colin Kaepernick. He was a victim of a profit margin correction. And by the hand of the NFL, they caved into the investor, and it cost him his career. So you can play the victim card. I know I said you're a victim of the puppet masterness, but you can't play the victim card, because I would probably be willing to assume that somebody sat you down and said, Colin, chill a little bit. This is gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt us, because who's the major contributor to most of the buying and consuming of NFL things? The conservative white male. They buy more NFL gear. They buy more NFL tickets. They spend more money on NFL things. That's the market. The market is the white NFL conservative. The white conservative. It's their game. Now granted, the black liberal is also a big contributor, but when you take a big hit from the white conservative, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt revenue. And when you're a billion-dollar industry, and all of a sudden, you're game planning for residual income in the NFL, where you think I know my corporation is gonna make this much money every single week off of these games. Now all of a sudden, viewership's down, merchandise is down. People are not purchasing things, and they're not viewing. So that's what happened to Colin Kaepernick. Now let's go to Harrison Butker. So we've debunked the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. So let's go to Harrison Butker. Harrison Butker did not shit where he eats. For one, he did it on his own time. The NFL season is not in session. For two, he didn't do it on an athletic field. Now, for three, Harrison Buckner did it in an environment that was of his like-minded peers. So for liberal America to go crazy over a dude who's doing something for like-minded people, it would be like the same thing as, Ice Cube going into the rap community and talking about urban rap stuff that conservatives may say, "Hey, man, that's not really culturally right." But you know what? It's not our ballpark to get involved in that. It's theirs. So I can have an opinion, but I'm not going to go try to cancel Ice Cube because he goes into his realm and does what he does. Whatever. That's do your thing, man. That's your culture. It's you're an obviously successful professional at it, so you do what you do. Same thing with Harrison Buckner. The Butker. Gosh, I screwed that up. Harrison Butker's the same. He's in an arena with his where his expertise is in Catholicism. And how do you have atheists on TV, Muslims on TV, and whatever other faiths or non-faiths that have been criticizing Harrison Butker, telling him that he's wrong to talk about his faith and the principles of his beliefs? It's wrong. It's wrong. And you can't have that. That's the difference between Harrison Butker and Colin Kaepernick. It's apples and oranges. So all of you guys need to really get a grip as to how this is really playing out. Now, second big issue with this, the homemaker. Now, I've discussed this on Twitter a little bit today, or X. So we go and talk about the homemaker. Now, for some reason, over time, the term homemaker has been turned into a extremely negative term. Now, I'm going to tell you about my personal experiences with the words homemaker. So I have a lot of people in my life that have that title, whether it was a permanent title or a temporary title. So I'm going to go over both. So I've been married twice. My first wife didn't like working. She would rather stay home with the kids. Okay. So she worked here and there, but nothing ever really stuck for a while, so she was at home with the kids a lot, which is fine. It saved me a lot of stress of having to make sure I got home at a certain time from work to get kids from here to there to everywhere. It saved me a lot of time because I go work for 8 hours, come home, and then I have to cook, clean, do dishes, all these things, and laundry, and take care of kids. It put a lot on my plate, having her working. I'm not saying that I didn't need her to work. We were a definite two-income household, or at least we needed to be. Times were tough. I wasn't making a lot of money back then. So she did stay home a lot, and she accomplished a lot at home. It wasn't like I was standing around going, "Hey, get in the kitchen and make me a pie. Hey, get these dishes done. Hey, go take care of these kids. Why are you not doing your feminine woman job?" That's not how it was. She was picking up the slack. So I want to go over, and first we'll go into my second wife was the same way. She worked jobs, but she didn't really stay at them. So she was a job hopper. So she at times had homemaker status. She preferred to not work. That was her goal. She didn't want to go to work. She wanted to stay at home with my stepson Grayson. So she wanted that title. Unfortunately, we were in our marriage was required 2 incomes, mainly because Joe Biden failed society. So let's go back into time And I want to talk about my two grandmas and my last wife, Chantel. Her both of her grandparents are in the same boat as my grandparents. So my grandparents were both homemakers. Now, when we define what a homemaker is, let's look at the words homemaker. What does that mean? These women